recovery on a 2000 Nissan Rogue. So of course you can tell it's been in collision, and we are in a collision shop, and this is one of my favorite collision shops that I take my own vehicles to, and I would recommend. And I could say I have about only 5 shops or less that I would take my own shops to and blindly leave them there, and this is one of them. Can't say that. That's how bad our industry is. I'm not offending anybody else, sorry guys, but you know what I'm talking about, especially with the level of some of the shop owners look for the lowest common denominator, the cheapest price technician, and does not provide in-house training and equipment, and tries to do everything the cheapest. And cheap is not a good thing in our technical industry. So let's get back to this. Performing this recovery. I'm testing. Let's see what our results of our refrigerant is. We are 100% refrigerant with no air. Okay, so this is a 2015. And what do you see? As soon as I walked up to this thing, I seen 2 little doodads that bring attention to me. You see this little dot right here? Let me see if can you see the shade? And then this bigger one right here. So that tells me most likely we got leaks going on. They're small, and as the refrigerant oil comes out, and they're old because they turn black and they gather dust. They're not from the accident. This is from the accident. The hit is here. And this is another thing to bring into attention. Guys don't notice. When I touch these aluminum, there's a little crunch. Look how easy this moves. That's oxidation. That's corrosion. These fins are no longer attached to the rows of tubes for cooling refrigerant, and it's starting to crunch. So due to oxidation at their contact points, see if I could zero in on this. If you could see right where they attach, they have corroded away and detached from the cooling fins. So this lowers the conductivity of heat coming out of the refrigerant. It transfers to the surface of the aluminum through the internal fins, but then the metal of the fins should be in direct mechanical contact with the surface of the tubes, so it can convect the heat right out of the surface of the tubes into the fins, and then the air going through the fins is supposed to take away the heat from the refrigerant that was rejected. But when this happens, and when you look at condensers, you don't know it happens unless you actually physically get in there and you push at them, and you could see them come apart. Let's do a little of this, push that one, see how that goes back like that, and see how I could bend the tubes. Okay, so that has the refrigerant in it. So this condenser has poor heat rejection. This will give you okay cooling in mild temperatures, but when you go into a really hot place, you'll have elevated head pressure, and you'll have poor heat rejection, and you'll end up with less than stellar cooling out of your evaporator, more wear and tear on the condenser, and wear and tear on the compressor, the clutch, everything. All the components suffer if you're in hot weather like this. Another thing I was going to do before I start, so I have the Stratus here and I have it on super. I'm just curious as to if I can pick up this leak. So I have it on its most sensitive setting. Now this could be one of those leaks that oh, there we go. There we go. No? It picked it up for a second. Or that was me touching the tip. See, some of these devices, when, oh yeah, we got it. We got it. There we go. Okay, so we could pick that leak up there. That's a known leak. Let's go over to this other one. see if I can mount this. I want to try to give you guys my view. Let's do this way. There we go. So this has nothing to do with the accident. This was an old leak. Okay, we're going to come back here and look at this one. There we go. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Okay, so we have proved the leak. Non-accident related. I will be taking out the refrigerant and weighing it. And for this customer, because sometimes you ever have those customers who say, oh yeah, my air conditioning worked great, or my transmission worked great before it came to your shop, and then they try to hit you with a transmission repair bill after you serviced it, or you touched something related or topped off, and then when you pull the pan, you find out it has a handful of metal flakes and old burnt oil and everything like that from the last 15 years, and they're trying to say that the transmission was in perfect shape when it came to your shop. Well, this is similar thing. For my customer here, the body shop or the mechanical shop, I can literally take photographs, and to prove that the AC was not functional prior to, say I only take 100 grams out, has nothing to do with the accident, and they try to say it was working. This happens. You get these kind of customers sometimes. And so just one thing. Oh, another thing, gauges. So check it out here. I used these yesterday on a job. Actually, I took one of the videos, the last one I did of the day with a video on a job I did. And at the end of my job, since I was going to store my gauge, I left the vacuum pump on in the hoses, just vacuuming away. And then I closed all the knobs and I stored it. Now usually I'll store it with a little nitrogen on the positive pressure, 2 or 3 psi, but I didn't put no nitrogen in. I actually stored it under vacuum, which you shouldn't, because if you have a leak you bring in moist air. But this is from yesterday. I'm still at 946 microns. Now this is probably not because I have a leak. This is moisture coming out and trapped refrigerant in the lining of my hoses, because I know when I drew a vacuum down on this, I drew the vacuum, it was like 77 microns just in my gauges alone. And since yesterday to today, it's up to this point. And most likely that's just moisture. Okay, so I'm going to do the recovery now, but I just wanted to get those points across. Always test your gas, make sure it's pure. If you have a customer or for yourself in a shop, always notate pre-existing damage or leaks, and then weigh out, confirm, take pictures, data log it inside your invoices, and always vacuum out your hoses before the end of the night. Pull out all remaining refrigerant and moisture if you can, and preferably store it under positive pressure with dry nitrogen like I usually do, but I didn't do that yesterday. I left it under vacuum, but this is the result from the next day. And I'll see you guys later.